what's going on, guys? Welcome back to AriesEDC live from the Makers Space. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm trying to get this video up. Oh my goodness, what is happening? So I am trying to show this video so I can see it. Hope you guys are doing okay. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day as well. We are going to be hanging out. I see you, my friend, backstage. I'll put you on the stage here in a second and do that. I'm just trying to get everything going so that, there we go. Now I can see everything. Cool. All right, let me go ahead and say hi to everybody. This is going to be fun today. This is going to be another session where we get to meet a maker, one that you guys all know. And if you don't know, then you need to climb out of the rock from where you came from. We're going to be having a great conversation with Donnie Bless from Bless Knives, making some amazing, amazing folders and fixed blades for that matter. And let's go ahead and bring him in so we can have this chat. What's up, Donnie? How are you?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Awesome. Yes, he's got the horn. He's ready to
gotta do it once.
Awesome. Well, let me say hi to everybody. Let's see who all's here. We have Joe Casper, Crispy Critter, El Cap. What's going on? Jim Miller, moderator. Tim B, I saw it was in here. Paul Mills. Hello, Kelly White, moderator. Wes B, welcome, welcome. Awesome, all you guys for popping in. Thank you so much. And I just apologize to all the other people who are live right now, but this works best for me.
Oh, yeah, Sundays are always crazy. So, everybody's always overlapped.
You know, it like you just said, Donnie, is just kind of like whatever at this point. There's always somebody live at some point in time throughout the day. You're going to step on toes, and they're just going to have to get over it. So we're all here to provide great content for everybody. So I hope you're having a good day. Did you get out in the shop today, get some work done?
No, no. Sundays are pretty much lazy day for me.
Good for you. Yeah. Good for you. I don't have those.
I mean, usually I get down there for a little bit, but mostly it's kind of housework, hanging with family, stuff like that.
No, yeah, I definitely balance those things, but I at least get out there for about 2 hours on Sunday just to get some stuff done. So if you guys haven't watched it, before Donnie and I start talking about and I start asking questions, after this live stream or tomorrow or whenever, you guys need to go check out the interview that Donnie did with the Knife Junkie on the podcast. That was a really cool conversation between you and Bob. There was a lot of really cool information. Bob asked some really good questions, and you threw out a ton of cool information. And I don't want to double too much on that information, but for those people who haven't watched it, we're going to probably touch on some of that stuff. I want to learn more about where this whole thing started, where you're going, and just we're going to start talking maker stuff, I am sure, with our own language, with how-tos and that type of stuff, because people ask me all the time when I'm going to do a folder, and I'm like, look, it's just not that easy that I'm just going to be like, yeah, today I'm going to start a folder. It's just definitely not that easy. You have to be set up to do that. So I'm hoping we can talk a little bit more about that, because that is a whole nother thing. EDC with DVD, what's going on? Trouble Bunny, hello. Dr. Drew, what is up? I hope you guys are all doing well. Yes, I know that you got your blooms. You and Sean both got all of your blooms. I hope you guys are enjoying those. That drop was stinking amazing. 10 blades sold in under 3 minutes on my Etsy store. You guys are awesome. I mean, I can't ask. I mean, that's what you dream of, right? It's just you drop stuff and it disappears within minutes.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
It's stinking awesome. So anyway, enough about me. Let's learn more about this guy. So let's start from the beginning, because there's always a fun story about where this started and what was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a knife. It's like what? So go ahead, tell your story because I heard it with Bob, but maybe not everybody has.
All right. So basically, in short, like most of us, I've always had a knife since I was a little kid. Got my first one at I was 5 or 6 from my uncle. Thought I had it laying around here. I don't. However, so my mom always carried a knife, pocket knife. She had a fixed blade when she was a little girl. Sweet old Puma fixed blade. It's pretty cool. Because her dad used to hunt and stuff, and they used to go fishing and all that.
Okay.
I don't do any of that. I am a city kid. I stay inside. But anyway, yeah. So I've always loved knives, like pocket knives. I had cheap ones, stuff all like that growing up. I guess skip forward to, I don't know, later in life. I was taking some cookies to a homie, fellow tattoo artist guy, and he was like, "Hey man, you like knives? Check out this little fixed blade that I got from a maker for tattooing him." And that maker's name's Derek Lee. He's out of somewhere in California. Makes really nice knives. It was just a little 2-finger fixie, nothing super crazy, but the fit and finish on it was super nice, And I was like, I can make that.
Yeah, of course. It always sounds good in theory.
yeah. So I, got some crappy Home Depot steel and made a knife-shaped object with a file. And I was like, all right, yeah, I can do this. And then realized real fast that I couldn't. But yeah, took some time. Started making, playing around making fixies. I built a file jig. That was the first thing I used to. That was short-lived though. I did that for only a few months.
That would be short-lived with me. That's for sure. My ADHD would be kicking in. No, I can't do this anymore.
I follow a gentleman. I followed him for a long time. His name's Joe McNeely. He's mostly only on Facebook, but he makes really, really nice knives, and he hand files all of his bevels, and they are just like, I mean, I've never made a knife as nice as he has. Like his stuff is just high quality.
Yeah, when you're taking that time to do it, though, I mean, that's one thing. To do it that way, you're going so slow that you're not gonna, with the grinder, it takes a split second to be like, whoop, oh man, I messed up. But with a file, you're locked in.
Yeah, most
and
definitely.
You're going so slow that it might take you 2 days to grind something, but you'll get there and it's gonna look good. But
most definitely,
that's crazy. So, like, just for me to wrap my head around it, like, at what age were you starting to do that?
So I started playing around with all this about 7 years ago.
Okay, so fairly.
I'm 40, so I'm about 33.
Okay, yeah. So I've only been doing this for about 4 years, so you've got a couple of years on me.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm in this kind of the same boat but my parents never really had a lot of knives growing up. My dad had some pocket knives, but nothing that you would like take out or nothing. But I was always enthralled with them too. I mean, we would go camping and stuff, and I remember he had a hatchet. He just did everything with that hatchet, but he never really had knives laying around or just. So I was never really exposed to it until my friend. He had a bunch, and then I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I got interested in knives, but the making part of it was just like, that came much later, especially when I found out about stock removal knife making. Then I was like, well, wait a minute, wait. I don't have to forge, and I don't have to do all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Maybe I could do that. And then, then I made my first. And so was it, for me, when I made my first knife, and I held it in my hand and I was like, yeah, I am done. And it's a usable tool. Was that like a light went off on your head? You were just kind of like, yeah, that was cool. The experience.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Like you have
that moment when you're like, yes, this is a thing. Like what?
Well, it's the moment where you have a problem. What is the problem? I want to make a knife. These are all the steps I'm going to take to solve that problem. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I have it. And then that light bulb goes off in your head. And I preach this to any maker, and that's why I wanted to do this show or do this, is because not just to highlight makers, but to kind of talk to them through that moment when they finish a product, whether it's leather, a knife, a ferro rod, paracord, when they have it in their hand and then they can pass it on or keep it. It's a finished product. When you have that finished product, there's that sense. I don't know what the word is.
It's just, I don't know, accomplishment. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that accomplishment of, okay, I did all of these things and I was able to create this with my hands. It's just like so rewarding. So I want people to feel that, whether you're making Kydex sheaths or leather sheaths or anything.
Oh, definitely, yeah, anything by your hand.
It's awesome. And even digital art and that kind of stuff, it's cool too. Sure. But to be able to do something like physically, I don't know. I feel like there's a different thing.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it for me, man.
Yeah, and I know that you were a tattoo artist, so you have a background in art, and that transferred over into the making, or not really?
Oh, most definitely. Attention to detail, the way I go about. So I was never the kid that could just draw, growing up. I was never the kid with sketchbooks. Like, I only learned to draw when I learned to tattoo. So, like, it was really hard for me. Like, the actual tattooing for me came pretty easy and kind of natural, but learning to draw to be able to do the tattoos was probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Drawing is painful for me. And I have to, I build a drawing, if that makes sense. So, I'll draw this piece of it, and then I'll draw another piece of it, and then I'll mold them, and then I'll make them work, and then make a fluid thing. It takes me many, many steps to get one drawing done. Where most people, they're doing a loose sketch, and then they're refining it. My brain don't work like that. It's really hard for my brain to work organically. You know what I mean? And I think that's why a lot of my knives look the way they do. Very even chamfers, and everything's kind of matching side to side, very symmetrical.
It's more of a mathematical equation almost than flowy lines and
it's really hard for me to be loose with my work. I wish I could, and I'm working on it. But it's a different thing. I don't know. It's just kind of how my brain works.
No, and it shows, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I have some tattoos, not like a tattoo artist does. But, my wife has sleeves and everything else. And just watching that process of someone who is a tattoo artist, because you're not just drawing, then you have to create the template. But then to actually apply that to somebody's skin is a completely different task all on its own. And I know our artist that we go to, he owns the shop and he's pretty cool. And the old owner that used to own it used to build his own tattoo machines, which, of course, I was like, ooh, well, how do you do that? That would be cool. What's the process you're using to build your own machines? So that is fun to be able to go there and talk to him about that. But so I can understand that process of putting things together, and it definitely shows in what your style is. Now, you started with fixed blades, and so what was the crossover where you were like, I want to jump in the folders?
So my original goal was always the folders, in my brain, I guess, in hindsight. But I didn't really realize that. So I had a couple fixed blades throughout the years, growing up, but mostly I carried folders. When I got into the tattoo world, I started having a little bit of money. I started buying Benchmades, and I've had 4 or 5 Benchmades over the years. I lost all of them, but so I was always into the folding knives more so. And then so when I started making fixies, then I was like, I always had a fixed blade on me and stuff, but it didn't really serve, I don't know, just the way of life that my folder does. You know what I mean? I love having a fixie on me. But the folder is just something that's more natural to me growing up. Always have small folders, CRKTs, buck knives. But when I was making fixies, something got in my brain. I wanted to make a pair of scissors. And
now that's a whole nother thing.
such a rabbit hole. And I've still never made a pair. So I cut out a rough blank of a pair of scissors once, like 5-6 years ago, and never went back to it. But the original goal is to build a pair of scissors because I thought I could. And then quickly realized that was so far advanced that I had no idea how to even get into trouble trying it,
Yeah.
Then it eventually just kind of, I drew one day at the shop and then started sketching folders and then eventually made it work.
That's crazy, Scott. And Donnie makes his knives big, so it's tough to lose them.
I make small ones too. I can.
He does. I watched, who was it? Jason Knight. We all know Jason Knight from Forged in Fire. Amazing knife maker. And he actually took a class on how to make scissors. And nice. Him and I forgot who else, another well-known knife maker that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they went and took a class on how to make scissors. And it was like a big deal.
Was it with Grace Horn or like Japanese scissors or something, or like England scissors? There's a lot of like different kinds of scissors and some old ways of doing it. It was
two female people that were teaching.
I bet it was Grace Horn. She's this lady. I think she's like a redheaded lady.
Yeah,
she's awesome. I got to see her work in person 2 years ago at Blade Atlanta, and she is a rad lady.
I mean, they were so clean and just, I was like, oh, it was crazy. But people don't understand when you start adding just a pivot, just a moving part, and then scissors, it's so.
Yeah. And some of them are, they're bent and they interact weird.
And like the ones they did were just so dainty and just like beautiful. And I was just like, geez, man, this is ridiculous. So yeah,
you're making is cool.
It's such a cool process. But getting into the folders, did you have somebody that mentored you through that process, or did you just kind of use YouTube and do that?
Mostly I learned literally just from following makers and watching their processes and like trying to pick up what I could. I never really got any mentoring per se until about a year after I started making them. But when I started making them, like I wasn't selling them. I was just learning how to do it and stuff. And then I went and worked a show and tried to sell some and didn't sell any. And I'm really happy about that.
That's a learning experience, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad those aren't out in the world. And but since then, I had met, about 6 months after that, I met some knife makers, and I met specifically Robert Carter, and he gave me the insight that made my knife basically what it is today. Like taught me about detent, taught me about lock bar stuff, and few other things, you know what I mean? Since then, I've definitely made friends and gotten a lot more mentoring and help.
Yeah. Chef Rocky says Jason Knight works with JKK Knives, Jen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She makes crazy nice stuff.
Yeah, she
usually big fixies, right? And then she's also got doesn't she also got a folder?
Well, he can work with whoever he wants. He just did something with somebody else making like the hill lock and I saw he did a little video on that. So he's always doing something, but the stuff he's doing is just amazing. But so like having that mentor is such a big thing, because you can only learn so much by watching videos. But I know for me, I was crazy enough to be like, I'm going to send one of my knives off to these knife reviewers for them to take a look at, which was daunting enough for me to be like, yeah, it's good enough. I could put it in front of thousands of people to look at. I don't know what I was.
No, it's a tough thing to do, man.
And but then I will tell you this though, the more daunting than that was bringing my knife to like this knife club that I've been going to, and having makers who've been doing it for longer than I've been alive look at one of my blades, and they'll pick it up, and he's like, he'll look at it, and he'll be like, look at me, and he'll be like, do you want feedback? And I'm like, oh, here we go. This is when I'm going to get my ass handed to me. And he's just like, you need to work on this, and because he'll like start going like this to the blade and looking at the grinds and looking at all the little things that as a maker he's like, you're doing good, but this could be better. And that as long as it's a positive feedback, then that drives you. And I don't know
100.
if you feel the same way. You're like, okay, okay, that makes sense. I'm going to try that on my next build, like learning where the detent hole should go or the track should be and how the lock bar sits. Like these are all things that you just don't do. You have to have an idea of where all that goes. And right? I mean, you're the one, I'm not doing folders, and I don't plan if I do maybe a friction folder or something like that, but just the ergonomics of finding that detent, getting the lock bar to the right positioning is all a science.
Dude, it's crazy, and you can do it 1,000 different ways, and I still can't say that I have mine to where it's never going to change. I'm still going to continuously dial that in and change that stuff. You know what I mean?
And I would love to learn. It's just a matter of time. But I'm also very comfortable with what I'm doing right now. I've met like Alan Foltz, and me and him got to chat at this barbecue that we were doing, and he was like, "Oh, you're a maker," and I had brought some of my knives, and here I am handing some of my knives when I was early to Alan Foltz. What the heck world am I living in? And then he was like, "Yeah, you can come to my shop. I can show you how to do folders and teach you how to do blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Oh man, that would be so cool." But it's just, I would love to do that and follow up with him on that. It's been so crazy, this journey. And I'm, like I said, I'm kind of comfortable where I'm at and the way of business that I'm doing.
And you got plenty of time, man. You don't got to rush into nothing.
One day I'll touch base with him and hopefully do that again. There's another maker here close to where I live who does folders and fixies, and he does some really great stuff. So, and I'm sure he learned it from Alan, who was at his barbecue. So it's just like, yeah, I could probably do that from him. But geez, so how often did you work with that mentor, or was it just kind of like?
It was pretty more just I'd hit him up, and he'd kind of send me a video and talk me through something, and then I would try it and kind of send him another video back, and then so it wasn't like a constant thing. It would just be kind of here and there. So I never really had like straight on a mentorship or anything like that. Like I've definitely had makers help me out a lot, but no one was really there along, each step of the process for any one of my knives. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So it's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Scott Enns said they know the craft so well that they know where you are in your progress and what was stopping them and what discoveries you're skilled enough to take advantage of.
Yeah.
100%. And that is one thing I have learned about the maker community, especially with knives. We are not in any competition with each other. No. There is no competition. We are all willing to help somebody out because we don't want them to struggle with things that we struggled with. Like,
right.
I'm gonna ask you in a bit like what you struggle with the most. Don't answer it now because I know I have my story and I continue to struggle with it. Sure. And it's all comes down to like tooling and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, many facets.
If I can help somebody, and I haven't been doing this very long, I'm still fairly new, but if I can help somebody, I'm going to help them because I want them to succeed. I'm not worried about them getting better than me. I don't care. That's an ego thing, and I don't care. I'm doing my thing, you do your thing, and we'll be fine. So
there's no gatekeeping over here.
Yeah. So, when you did that show, and you were at the show trying to sell some of your stuff, mm-hmm. and you look back on it, and at that time, you thought that those were good enough to show at a show and try to sell.
Yes, due to my own ignorance, though.
But, and that's where I was going, because I know about the first 10, 11 blades that I made, they all went to family. I knew, and then when I do look back at some of my early stuff, I am cringed by looking at it.
Oh, yeah.
or very early on, Stasa bought one of my knives off of the Etsy store. He has a knife. And every once in a while he'll show it, and I'm like, gosh, it's not good. And he has such a big audience, and it's like, it's so frustrating to look back on that. But it's out there. The pieces are out there, and
you got to know, like, you're gonna grow 5 years from now. You might look at the stuff you're making right now and think the same way about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know I will.
You know,
I'll be like, oh, that was what I was doing then.
Right.
But it's just funny to see that process, and it like you said, it's your own ignorance at that time, and that's not a negative thing. That's just
not at
all. At that time, you look at that knife and you're like, this is awesome.
You're like,
yeah, I did it. And then
somebody else is like, what's going on here?
2 years down the road, you're like, what was I doing? Why would I even try to sell that thing? Gosh, it's garbage. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of my knives out there that are the exact same way. I still have my first 2 or 3 knives here, and my wife and my stepdaughter and my daughter, and like I said, the family all have one. And every once in a while, I'll ask them to pull it out so I could see it. And I'm kind of like, ooh, no, you can put that away. I don't want to look at it anymore, because I'll want to take it home and try to fix it. My dad placed me with the crew, and those old guys took me under their arms and taught me the basics, first steps and next steps. Considered master now after 50 years. Yeah, after 50 years, Jim, I would consider you a master. Whatever you're talking about, that would be awesome.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just kind of reading the chat. That attitude. Well, Jim, you said you're still learning. You always are learning. And no matter what it is, you're always learning. If you stop learning,
quit.
That's not a good place to be.
Move on to something else. Well, I mean, if you decide to stop learning, like, move on to something else.
Well, if you stop learning, it's because you don't care anymore.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it. Yeah.
And it's not just making. That's that's just life in general.
No, anything you're doing. Yeah.
The attitude.
Now, if you're not willing to progress and like change and grow, then like complacency kills.
You have to. Yes, DBD, I agree with this. The attitude translates from knife makers to the knife community in general. Everyone is always looking out to help each other. Absolutely.
Cripple Crew.
Absolutely. Cripple Crew in the house. Dan Stan, what's going on? I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Mick Ranger, what's going on? Very cool. All right, so some of your designs, the Ripley, and I have the other one here, the Defiant. That's the 2.
So currently it's the Ripley, the Newt, which is like the short Ripley.
Okay.
And then the Vapor.
I just pulled up your website, so all I see.
Look at that.
Okay, do not look at that. I will not pull that up.
All right, so case in point, I made that website right before I worked that very first show that I made folders.
Okay, all right.
And little tidbit there, I'm over here making fancy, folders.
Wait, hold that up. Let's see it.
Oh yeah,
Let's see. Hold on.
This is the number 1.
Hold on. Nope, don't want to do that.
Ooh, there we go. So yeah, that's Ripley number 1, official.
That's the first one you ever did.
It's the first one that works the way it should.
There you go. That's awesome.
So when I made the first run and I worked that show, I was telling you, I had never held a custom folder ever.
Okay, ever?
Ever, not one time. So I was just making them by looking at them on the internet.
That's crazy. But I mean, that's insane to think, just for me to think about. Like, I've been to shows and I've handled some custom folders that have been just mind-blowing and really, really good. But then, yeah, so what is that? This
is from that very first show.
That's crazy.
This is a Defiant.
Okay, yeah, that I was going to say. It's like Tonto.
So I made a couple different blade shapes. I made a normal kind of clip point for my brother, but he lost it. I also made this one.
Jeez. No respect.
He feels bad about it. But I also made this one, and this one's funky too.
Yeah, that's interesting on the spine how it comes up like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it looked gnarly. Thought I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, and these, I mean, they look like they might be okay, but there's lots of stuff like this thing. It has no deet.
No detent, just kind of falls right out.
So the earlier ones, I just didn't know what I was doing. You know, fit and finish isn't the best. You know, plumb lines, you never see it, but they're really, really uneven. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely learned, and now they're better.
And you do. And what I love about that is you do all your hand. You do everything by hand. You do all the grinding by hand.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Bring in the knives. That's awesome.
Yeah. This is my one of the first fixies I ever finished.
So that was with a file?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was just I don't even know. It was just a 5160 spring steel, I think. You know, and the handles.
Cool. Just burlap?
Yeah, I actually made this burlap.
Really? See, now that's going above and beyond. That's just above and beyond.
It's like a steak knife, I guess.
Kathleen, this is a great question. How do you figure out the internals starting that way? That is actually amazing. So
that is a good question. I didn't really know how. I made a lot of drawings when I was early starting off, and you know, this is one of the first drawings I ever did, trying to figure out the
okay, yeah,
pivot area and stuff. This is just a loose sketch thing I did. This was like 6 years ago. But I came across some old website from some maker, and he had this crazy trick. Wish I had hold on. I might be able to do this on camera here. You take a coin. Do I have a coin? I got kind of a coin. I just got to find a pencil. I promise this makes sense. I'll make this real quick.
What's up, Chris Warris? What's going on? Just
what, is that War Room?
War Room you see in the house. I know he's in line. He is in line for a Ripley. That is awesome.
All right. Bear with me here really quick.
Okay.
You trace a coin. This is really big so you can see. Okay, and then you put a line down here and a line down here. All right?
Yeah.
And then you connect the bottom of the circle and you hump it over that dot, because that's what your stop pin will be. So you're where I'm
okay.
at. So this ends up being your stop pin. This ends up being like where your blade's going to end up locking up.
Okay.
Okay. And then you draw your blade shape out. Okay. Then you got your rough blade.
Okay. I see where you're going now.
And then you just draw your handle around it. And then you flip it out. And you basically just shave off what you don't need. Make sure you can bolt it together. You know what I mean? And you just kind of work it out from there.
So where did that come from? Because that had to come from somewhere.
Yeah, this random knife maker guy. I found his website, and he was like just some old school guy. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I'm looking at my desktop right now. See if I can find his name. Oh no, it's in a file, so I can't pull it up. But
that's right.
Yeah, just some old knife maker put up a website. Since took it down. I emailed him, and he sent me a bunch of like PDFs of his own sketches and stuff. See, and that's how I started. That's how I started learning to make the mechanism work.
The community coming out, you know,
and that dude was like, doesn't even make knives anymore. He was like, oh, I took the website down, but I'll send you that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they all want to help. So it's that's and that just little tidbit of information jumps you ahead tenfold to be able to
100%.
move. You could, because then you can expand upon that information and move forward with different things.
Yep,
it's crazy. Caleb asked, what was your favorite locking type, and what lock do you like making the most?
Well, the frame lock probably. I've only really made a frame lock. As far as locking knives go, that's the only one I've made. I have rebladed a cold steel, which is a lockback, with some Alabama Damascus.
Yeah. I'm working with some of that right now.
That was one of the first. I did this way early, like when I started making fixed blades. I did this.
That's pretty. I mean, that's pretty. When you pull, so you pulled that apart, pulled that blade out, and then use that to pattern the new one.
Yep, hand filed the round stop in there and everything.
That's a lot of work, guys. You don't understand how much work that actually is, because you have to be so precise. If you're a hair off, it's not going to work. And it's
kind of, yeah. I mean,
little.
Yeah.
And I'm already picturing how this works. You file, put it all together. Nope, I got to take it apart. File a little bit more, put it back together, and see right there, you've lost me.
90% of folder making is taking it apart and putting it back together again. I probably put each knife, take it apart, and put it back together probably 100 times. Like while making it.
Just because you have to.
Yep. Like when you're opening up your detent hole, you hit it with a drill bit, you put it all back together. How does it feel? Nope. You take that drill bit up 1 thou maybe to a 1 thou bit bigger. That's it. Put it all back together. Nope. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Because if you go once, it's gone. It's gone.
Yep. Yep.
Once that metal is gone, you can't put it back, and you have to start all over again.
Oh yeah, and remaking a folder blade sucks.
I mean, because I know for me, when I went to do my first knife, it was the same way. I learned from watching YouTube stuff, and I talked to a couple people, and I put together some tools, and then I made my first little fixed blade. And this was 3/16 stock of 440C.
Oh, that's thick.
I don't know why
I mean, for a little guy,
do thick with liners and micarta, and
it looks nice though.
I don't know what I was thinking.
But it feels like a fist packer.
I even etched my maker's mark onto it. I thought I was cool.
Nice.
It was definitely a learning experience. It's chunky. You can see how big that second bevel is.
Real tall bevel and all. Yeah.
I was afraid to go too thin.
No, for sure.
And it's funny, but it's fun to look back on that. And for you, sure, man. The same way to look back on a first knife and just be like, I so much better.
What was I thinking?
But it's a reminder of, okay, yeah, I've come that far. I knew what I wanted. Like, I wanted to round the spine off. I wanted to do all these things. I figured it out.
Buddy. Trial and error.
Oh, yeah. So, besides taking a knife apart and putting it back together 100 times, what is the one step? Because I think I break everything down into steps, because when I'm making, I have to start here, then I go to this step, and I can't move on to the next step until that step is completely finished and I'm happy with it. Then I can move on to bevels, and then once the bevels are complete, then I can move on to whatever the next step is. So hand sanding or final finishes or whatever. What is the one step that you dread doing every single time?
Making clips.
Clips? Really?
I hate making clips. I hate it, dude. I hate it so much.
So, well, I'm
hate it, but it's like my least favorite part.
Knowing how you do it. Now, I've watched some of your lives and been hanging out with those.
Cool, thank you.
And it's awesome, and welcome to my world trying to show off what you're doing live.
Oh, yeah. I'm still getting used to all that.
It's definitely not easy.
No.
In the very beginning, people were like, you need to do a camera angle where we can see exactly what you're doing. And I'm like, you don't understand how hard it is to get that straight down
and still be able to see and work
and still be able to work
Yeah.
properly. I've kind of figured it out, but it definitely takes me about 5 minutes to figure out camera angles. I feel like I'm shooting a movie instead of
oh yeah, that takes me forever.
There are days where I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I just want to go out in my shop and work. I don't want to worry about filming footage of what I'm doing. There are definitely days of that. But how do you do the clip? Because I know you're starting with a stock of titanium or whatever material you're doing. I saw how you posted a picture of like Damascus. So you're using these really specialized materials. How are you like, you don't have a mill. You're using a drill press and hand tools basically and a grinder. How are you doing a clip?
I just freehand grind them, man.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. So, and that's mostly why I hate doing it, because you got to do the under relief, on the bottom side,
in here,
and they're so small and thin that I'm just on the grinder on the wheel, and you burn your fingers and the titanium builds up on you like the dust does, and then that ignites and it actually like just cooks your fingertips. Like, this is a real pain in the butt, man.
These are the things that people do not think of. Yeah,
my fingers. I mean, like burned. Like,
I can't move though, because once you're in there, you cannot move. You got to continue it and get out.
Nope.
And titanium heats up really fast. I think I learned that when you were talking to Bob, that when you're working titanium, it goes from 0 to 1,000 degrees in a split second. So
yeah, man, that's crazy.
Really paying attention to what you're doing.
Now, you can hand sand titanium enough that it will damn near burn you. Like, it gets that hot.
Does see?
Just from friction,
That's crazy. Just built a track system around your whole shop with a motor attached, and then program the AI to follow you around the room, constantly keeping everything in focus.
Oh man.
Yeah, sure, Todd. I'll work on that for you.
Now we got to hire drone pilots. Come on.
Yeah. There's enough AI. I don't need any more AI.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen a machine that you pull out, and I don't know what it is. I just saw a table.
It's a wood trim router.
Assuming it's some kind of, what is it?
It's a wood trim router.
A wood trim. So it's just basically a small router.
Yep. Just battery operated router.
What are you using for a bit?
Carbide burr.
Really? Okay. I'm writing this down.
Yeah, man. I'll send you pics of it and stuff. It can get a little hairy, but it works pretty good. You just got to respect it, and not overwork it and stuff.
Yeah, because I have a router and a router table.
Nice.
It's all part of my workbench out there, but the hole is like that big, so that might not work if I'm trying to do small. I've tried to do like handle materials on it, like doing my Carta, doing 45s on with a 45-degree router bit, and it gets a little hairy though, because that thing
because of the hole.
Yeah, good. Well, it's sticking up, and I have it sticking up just enough, and I'm getting the handle scales in there just to.
If you have enough, because I'm sure you have like a height adjustment on the bit.
Yeah.
Just make like a 1/8-inch sheet that just covers that whole hole and only has a tiny hole in the center.
Yeah.
Just glue it down, and then you can get right up next to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna see how far out I can get it,
for sure.
I can do it. Because it does save time. I mean, I don't do a lot of that. I like to hand round all my handles off.
Yeah.
Knives. Like, all my stuff is nicely rounded off, so I don't really have. I do 45-degree up here.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my little 1x30 still that had the round on the side,
mm-hmm.
and I can do 45 degrees on that, just on the fronts of the blades.
Nice.
So I've tried to just chamfer off the 45-degree here on that, but I'm working with scales that are very small. So
yeah, that does not help.
No, I like my fingers. I don't. I like these.
And router bits are way scarier than a carbide burr. Like a carbide burr is still going to bite you, but like not really compared to a blade that's cutting, like a router blade.
Yeah,
I think it'll decimate you.
But you use those to kind of open holes up, chamfer off the handle scales, maybe shape the lock bars and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, mostly I do the stop pin track. I'll use it to start large jimping, like on the spine. That's about all I use it for, really. Is I mostly use it for my stop pin track.
Okay, I like the idea of jimping, or maybe a sharpening choil or something along.
Yeah, no, it works good for that too.
Yeah, so I can see that. Yeah, that. I have to check that out because I've seen those, but it's a matter of what do I do, or I can turn my Dremel into that. I don't know. I don't know if it's powerful enough.
Yeah, you might bog the Dremel down faster than the.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it might fit into my regular router, so then it might be a little bit too powerful. I don't know if that other router is a little smaller.
I hear you.
And so I know that like you have a waiting list and all of that kind of stuff. If somebody wanted to get one of yours, what do they wait? What's the wait time? 6 months or so?
About that, yeah. Well, a little long now. It's going to be after Blade Atlanta, so probably end of June, beginning of July.
And that's how. So they reach out to you. Hey, I'm interested. This is kind of what I want. And you go back and forth with handle materials and that kind of stuff.
Yep. And I just write them down. And then I was working like one by one in order. Now I'm working in batches of 4. But yeah, I stay in order. And then I don't take any money up front. I don't take money until that knife is ready to be put in a box and has the address on it.
Yep. Same here. People ask me all the time if I want to get paid up front. I'm like, no.
Nope.
When I'm done,
we don't want that.
I will send you the final pictures and the videos, like all the pictures that I share on Instagram. The customer has already seen. They have already seen those pictures and the videos of all that stuff. Hey, Brown Sugar.
Hey, Brown Sugar, what up?
Ron Dobbins, Weldon Carey. Just trying to say hi to everybody. Yeah, any of those pictures that I share after that build is done, they're getting the video, they're getting the pictures, and once they sign off on it, then I'll accept payment and then I'll send it off. Unless it's off of the Etsy store, then that's a completely different thing. But that's one thing that I struggle with, because people have asked me and told me you should do your books farther out, and my brain can't handle that.
That's a personal thing, man. That's a personal thing. Like how much future work you're willing to take on. You know what I mean? And
I can't. Like, I'll do maybe 2 months out, but then after that, it's okay. What can I get done in this month's time? So like I do my every other month thing, where like March I'm doing 6 builds, whatever they chose, that's what I'll do. And then April I'm going to build what I want. And then the following month, I'll open up the books again for 5 or 6 spots. And then that's how I like to do it. Because if I get behind on the monthly builds for people, then at least I know the following month is whatever I want to do, and I can make the rules and I can choose whatever I want to do on that.
No, that's smart. Gives yourself a buffer, You either get to do whatever you want, or you get to make up for lost time there,
Because I was doing every month. I was taking on 5 builds a month, and with heat treating and everything else, because I'm honest. I don't do my own heat treating for stainless.
Sure.
Which I know you do, so we could talk a little bit about that. Because and I want to talk to you about that Baker Forge and tool stuff, because that one came out awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm honest, and sometimes Peter's heat treat, which I use for my heat treating, they're expensive, but I know what I'm getting. And actually give me this little sheet of paper, which I make a copy of every time, that says exactly what the final hardness is on all the blades.
Nice.
So as a customer, you're going to get one of these, and it states on it what the final hardness is of your blade and document it. So I can document anybody's blade on what their final hardness is. So talk to me about your heat treating process, because I know on a fixed blade, you're doing a bigger heat treat, but for the folders, you're doing what, a 4-inch. The Ripley is what, 4-inch blade?
It's got a 4-inch edge. It's about 4.5-ish overall, but then you also got the part where the bushing and all that is. So it's about 5.5 inches all total.
Okay. What I know, I heard that you like 154 cm.
Yeah, I like that steel a lot.
What other steels do you like to work with?
Magna Cut. I've been really liking crew wear the last few months. I like working with it. I like the way it finishes. I like the edge it takes. Other than that, honestly, dude, I haven't worked with a whole lot of steels. So I've done, starting out, I tried 5160 spring steel and some ADS, and then I decided that quenching shit was not for me. So then I started playing with CPM 154, and I made fixies out of that for about 2 years or 3 years, pretty much only that steel. Just learning it, dialing it, learning how to heat treat, because that's when I got my oven. And then Magna Cut came out, and I'm a fucking fanboy. I don't give a fuck. It's like CPM 154 on crack. Like I love Magna Cut. It's great. And then other than that,
I like the anti-corrosion aspect of it.
I don't like taking care of my knives.
Yeah, you've mentioned that.
Yeah. I want to put them away wet and dirty, and have them be just perfectly fine the next day.
Yeah, and with what I'm doing, like when D2 was everything was coming out in D2, like this rat, or R2D2, everything was D2. And then my first day taking this to work, something wet was sitting on the blade all day in my pocket, and I didn't know. And then I pulled it out, and I'm like, oh, it's already I have a rust spot or a corrosion spot on the blade after one day. And I was like, I can't oil them every single day. It's just going to be a pain. So that's why when I did my first knife, it was like, it has to be stainless. It has to be stainless, because
for sure.
And Magna Cut is great. I've worked with Magna Cut. I worked with LMAX. I worked with Nitro V, AEB, a lot of the carbon.
Yeah, I've worked with that. This one's actually an ABL.
Yeah, I mean, and AEB is what I like to work with. That one's an AEB. It's inexpensive. It's readily available. Fairly easy to work with.
Super tough.
It's tough. It'll get a good hardness. Like I usually get my fixies at about a 61 HRC is what I request from Peters, and they pretty much get 61 HRC, which is a fantastic HRC for a little fixed blade. Yeah. So, I don't have any issues with it, but I know people fanboy out, like you said, on certain steels and whatever the new and exciting thing is. And even Nitro V, I've started to use Nitro V more readily, but it's not as easy to get. Not all places.
And that matters a lot too for us small makers. We're only trying to buy a small bar or two.
Yeah. Where are you buying yours?
I buy almost everything from Alpha Knife Supply.
So I've used Alpha, I've used Jantz, I've used Maker Material Supply, Pops.
I've definitely bought something from all of them, but I generally buy from
Alpha. New Jersey Steel Baron.
And them. That's where I got my crew wear from last.
Yeah. So I've been using, that's the problem. It's like, I want to buy, so on my 3 steels that I stick with, ADCRV2 is a good carbon steel that I try to use as more of a budget steel. AEB, mid-grade, Nitro V is a little bit more expensive. But I like to buy all 3 from one place.
Yeah.
I can usually get
cut down on that shipping.
Yeah, I can usually get the ADCRV2 and the AEB, and then the Nitro V is like, oh well, we have Nitro V in this, but not this, and then I have to go buy this from this place, and I'm paying more for shipping.
Yeah, that's a pain in the
butt. That's the problem, and it's like MagnaCut. I did buy a bar of MagnaCut to work with MagnaCut, but the cost of that bar is 10 times the cost of the bar the same size in AEB-L.
Yeah.
It's just 10 times the cost. So if you're willing to pay for it as a customer, then I'm more than happy to do it.
Oh, there definitely has to be a markup in the work for certain steels.
Yeah, even some of the Damascus stuff.
Especially for like the stuff you're doing, like I'm selling $800,000 knives.
Well, yeah.
I only use premium steels because I'm not going to put AEB-L on a $1,000 knife. Unless it's specifically requested, I will. But I don't feel like I'd be giving my customers their value if I'm using the cheapest steel I can use. You know what I mean?
Well,
for a $1,000 folder, I'm saying.
That's one of the biggest differences between making a fixed blade and making a folder. Is I can make a premium fixed blade, but I'm still not going to be able to charge what you're doing for a folder, just because there's so many intricate steps and little parts, standoffs, backspacers, handle materials, lock bar, pivots, bearings, washers. There's all of these other parts and pieces that everybody has to consider that is going into it. So Todd Carr, Nitro V rocks as well in the stainless department. Here it doesn't tend to warp as much either as compared to AEB. Basically Nitro V and AEB are the exact same thing, with a little bit more vanadium in the Nitro V than in AEB. I've heard both. I've heard that they will warp. I heard that it doesn't warp. Donnie, with your heat treat process,
I've never had nothing not warp.
Yeah, so you're heat treating in your oven. Mm-hmm. You have, what kind of oven are you using?
I'm using a 120 volt even heat kiln.
Okay, I need to get that. I would love to have that. And you're plate quenching? Yep. And cryo, or are you doing the dry ice?
Pseudo cryo, so denatured alcohol and dry ice.
Yeah, the denatured alcohol.
Sub-zero, but not true cryo.
So with that setup, you're pulling the blades out at whatever the austenization temperature.
I hate saying that word.
I can't say that word. Whatever that appropriate temperature is, you've let it cook for 15, 20 minutes, however long the recipe is that you're using. Yep. It's 2 big hunks of aluminum. You've covered it in foil probably. Yep. Into the aluminum, air, cooling it off. That's the quench. Yep. Just so you guys know that he's plate quenching. So when I say plate quenching, you have 2 big chunks of aluminum. You're putting the blade in between it. You're using a press to press those things together. You take compressed air. It cools it off at a very quick rate, and that's your quench. So for me, I use a forge for my ADCRV2. Mm-hmm. I bring it up to whatever the temperature is where it loses that magnetic charge. I'm oil quenching in canola oil, and then I just throw it in an oven to get the temper. But for the temper for a good stainless, you're going to cryo, or you can pseudo cryo, and you're just getting. What are you putting container wise? You're doing dry ice and the alcohol. In what kind of container are you using for that?
I use a paint can that I stacked. You know that like purple insulation foam board?
Yes, I think so.
So I stacked a bunch of that and cut circles out of all of it and built it up
on the outside.
Yep.
Okay.
so it's like insulated.
So it's an insulated metal can
Yep.
that you put dry ice in. You
Teenage
fill it
alcohol.
with the alcohol, so you have to submerge.
No, there's about probably like that much alcohol in it, and then I fill the rest of it with dry ice pellets, and then that pretty much fills up most of the volume, and then I jam the knives in there.
But the actual blade needs to be submerged in the liquid.
Yeah, in the slurry. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, because at some point, I want to be able to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
So, to be able to learn that process is awesome. I mean, I don't know if I even have room to do all this, but I do have cans, and I've seen people use coolers and all kinds of different things.
And also, I mean,
to do that in.
To get 100% the best heat treatment you can out of each steel, yeah, you should use cryo for most stainlesses, I'm saying. But is it absolutely necessary?
Yeah, I know. I've seen like Jacob Creates. I saw him using that method, the dry ice and alcohol method. But then there's tons of people who are using the cryo method, which is great if you have the money to buy a doer and to buy the liquid nitrogen.
And it's really the way to go is buying a doer.
Do it the right way. Like people always say, you should be able to do that. I'm like, you don't understand. It's what, $1,200 to $1,500 just for the oven.
Yep, probably a little more these days, yeah.
And then a couple $100 for your aluminum quenching. I've seen the clan; they have the all-in-one thing now.
Oh yeah.
But then you have your foil. You have to figure out: are you going to cryo, or you're going to do the dry ice method? But then you have to come up with a way to do that. And then once it's all said and done, you have it in the cryo for how long? How long do you temper for?
I leave in the cryo for 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
And
it's just
bring it up to room temp, and then I put it in the temper oven.
Okay, so your cryo, depending, and this is, I know
your cryo is technically part of your quench.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. I thought your plate quenching.
So that is because that's the cooling, but because you're cryoing, you're cooling it even further, so it's technically part of the quench process.
So you're going straight from that. How long do you keep it in your aluminum for?
Till you can touch it with your hand. So I blow it with the air for about a minute. And I pull it out, take it out of the foil, make sure it's not too hot to touch, like basically room temp. As soon as it gets to room temp, then I stick it in the cryo.
And then 45 minutes or 30 minutes in the cryo.
Yep. And then
straight into a temper oven.
I let it warm up a little bit. I don't know if I've never really talked to anybody about versus putting it in straight cold into the oven. I don't think it would hurt it, but I let it warm up a little bit. To where I can hold it and it's not like so cold it's burning me.
That's what I meant. I mean, you have to let it come back.
Equalize a little bit. Yeah.
Not down. You got to let it come back up to room temperature because you've completely frozen it. And then once then you're throwing it in a temper oven for how long?
2-hour tempers. So you temper for 2 hours, pull it out, let it cool, back in the oven for 2 hours.
Because that's what I'm doing with my ADCRV2. I quench, I put it in a vise, let it kind of cool off a little bit to where I can touch it with my hand. I'm throwing it in my oven, 350 for 2 cycles of 2 hours each. And I get a pretty good hardness. I've never been able to test it, which I would love to be able to test it, but whatever. That's awesome. So I've never seen that there's also the temper. I've always seen just the cryo, and then I thought after the cryo, there's nothing left. You're done.
Oh no, it takes you all day.
Yeah, that's an all-day process. All right, very cool. But then once that's all said and done, how many times you have to look at that blade? And you're dealing with fairly small blades compared to a fixed blade, which might be longer. And then you have to straighten that out.
Yep. So I got like 3 of them right here. I just heat treated these yesterday. And they look flat, but they're not. You see how there's now gaps there?
Yeah.
Just from squeezing one end.
Mm-hmm.
That means all of these have a slight bow to them. So now I got to go and see how that side lifted up now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I have to straighten every one of these.
And your process for that is you're taking it to the granite slab, or are you putting it on the machine?
I use a carbide hammer to get most of the warp out. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use a carbide hammer to get most of it out, and then you just sand it back to a nice parallel, even surface.
Okay.
And I do not put it back on the grinder ever after heat treat. So when you're grinding, even if you have one of those fancy surface grinder attachments, because of the belt seam, no matter what, about an inch in from both sides will be like 1 to 2 thousandths lower, because the belt seam bites and then it like evens out and then it bites again on the way out. So no matter what with one of those, you're going to have tapered edges.
Yeah.
So that does not work for making folders.
So I have seen
guys
doing that. And I've also seen you taking your measuring and go all the way across all the steel, and it's all the same.
Oh, with the dial indicator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes to a folder, you have to, because if it's a little bit off,
yep, it's gonna
rub
one way or the other.
It's gonna hit. It's gonna do something. It's gonna be crazy. Grumpy just put the cryo container inside the kiln. 2 burns, 1 storm. I wish it was that easy, Grumpy. I wish it was that easy. Everything right and still break into the cryo. Yep. I mean, listen, this is all something, and everybody has their own way of doing it. Everybody has their own way of doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has their own recipe, and there's no bad way. It's just different. Everybody has something different, which is why I don't want to do it, because it's a lot more involved with that.
If you want to end up,
you got to do that.
If you want to end up slow dipping your toes into it, man, just make a friction folder.
Oh yeah, no, that would be the first step, because I could do a 1-piece handle and then do a cool friction folder or something like that. Think that's awesome. That is cool. Yeah,
this is
awesome.
Yeah. I made this like fucking forever ago.
Yeah. Here's a question. Where'd the logo come from?
My little sheath.
Oh, you did. So do you work with leather or no?
Sometimes. It takes me a long time and I'm not really good at it, but
yeah, I loathe it.
What'd you ask me though? I'm sorry.
I asked where the logo came from.
Oh, the logo. It used to be something I wrote on stuff I shouldn't have.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, a little doodle I came up with, I used to tag it.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. It was a tag. It was your little tag.
I'm into spooky shit. You can see a little like, how do I do this? Boo sign up here. It says boo.
Yeah.
That's my nickname that I got as a kid. So I got a whole bunch of spooky, ghosty stuff. And then the whole idea behind my ghost was basically it's to fight Pac-Man in my brain. This is where my story came from. So it's a neon sign that comes to life and can shoot lasers, and can fight Pac-Man.
Because I know
I have no idea where this comes from, people.
Hey, listen, I don't know where half of my stuff comes from either, but it's in here, and it's a scary place to be.
That's right.
But yeah, and I know that your inspirations come from a lot from the sci-fi genre.
Oh yeah.
I know obviously the Ripley and some of the names that you come up with for the themes, and like Stevie's Ripley is a total sci-fi thing, and I'm assuming he's a fan too, which is why it looks the way that it looks, that thing is pretty cool. Thanks for letting me use the picture for the thumbnail for this video.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, there's always a story. I'm a big fan of like hidden messages in designs, which is why mine is the way that it is. Nobody can get it right though. It's funny. Everybody holds it upside down or sideways or whatever, and it's like, look at my shirts. Look, it goes this way. Look at my blades. It goes that way.
Right.
So it's like, it goes this way. No, so just because the words are there.
Right.
So here's the explanation for everybody one more time. I'm an Aries. So let's see. There's the Aries Ram. My initials are S and H. So then you have the S over here, and then the H down there. So it's just the Aries sign, and my initials are in it, which is where that design came from. So, boom, there it is. This is how it goes. Because people still will take pictures and it'll be like, here. Oh, look at that. Man, hey, where's mine? Jeez. Jeez, I got nothing. I got this. I'm in bed. Get your own. Awesome. That's what I got. Well, awesome. This was stinking cool. Being able to do that. I put your sticker on my toolbox sideways the first time. Yeah, I know everybody was doing it sideways, Robert or Jim, because they sell the words and they think the words should be written like that. So, but no, it's vertical.
Aries. I get not 9 times out of 10 people hit me up. They're like, "Is that a nose?" Yeah. And I'm like, maybe if it was like this.
Yeah, no, it's a ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, everybody messes it up in the beginning. Blue, it's it's cool. I give everybody a hard time. I sit back and I laugh about it because people still get the sticker and they're kind of like, oh yeah. I don't know how it goes, and it's just whatever.
As long as you're repping it and putting a sticker somewhere, we don't care.
Hey, listen, exactly. And then here, I made it easy. You can come up with your other designs that you have.
Looks like a Pokemon.
Yeah, somebody said that as well. So my stepdaughter, she's autistic, but she's an amazing artist. She does all my graphic stuff. So she does all of my logos on all my characters.
Nice.
This is the Bloom character for my Bloom knife. I have the rock hopper. You've seen all those, right?
Yeah, I like that you have the different kind of symbols for your different knives. Like, that's cool. Like, I've never really thought to do that,
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
It's awesome. It's cool. It's a cool thing you got going.
It's like all branding. Like
Cicero, that phrase is the bane of my life.
At first, I thought it was a nose. Yeah. I'm sure you get that a lot.
Well, especially with the whole last name thing, yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted to. I didn't even put that together until you just said. Oh, bless you. Jeez, that's funny. That's why I wanted to ask, because
most stuff.
It's unique. It's simple. It's easy. As soon as you see it, it's recognizable, and that's kind of that's when you come up with a logo and your branding. It's simple. Like if you're putting it on your blades, then that's even easier, because it's just it's a very easy design to do. Because I do.
I'm working on it, buddy. Sorry.
What happened?
War Room asked if there's anywhere to get swag. I told him I was working on it.
There we go. Yeah, I have some swag. I started the Etsy stuff and put it all on there.
Arsher, no, I got this one. It's just a screen, not even a screen print. It's just a vinyl on it. I don't know where the one Forrest made me is. It's around here somewhere.
Yeah. Well, very, very cool. So what's the future? What's the future look like?
Oh, the future. I started getting. I just got them in not too long ago, but I'm going to start using water jetted blanks for my handles and stuff. Because I cannot make a living making this stuff without doing that. Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna start doing that. I just got some of the first ones in. I don't know. I want to come out with a couple new models this year. I want to finalize this old design and get it out, because it is a smaller knife, and I mean, people like small pocket knives.
There are those people.
I got the mini Ripley that I'm going to be starting to make.
Oh man, that's cool. I like that.
It's exactly the same, but 15% smaller.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Ripley. It is
but it's a big knife, bro. It's a pocket sword, man. It's huge.
Yeah, it is big, and I like smaller stuff. So, I mean, even just the smaller Ripley, but
I'd also really like
easier or harder to do a smaller knife.
Harder.
It is.
Well, I mean, it's harder for me.
People have told me all the time it's harder to do a smaller fixed blade than it is a larger fixed blade. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't know because I only make smaller stuff.
You're ahead of the game then.
Like this, that's the biggest thing that I make. And so this is some Alabama Damascus.
Yeah.
So I am
nice.
That's gonna be April. 5 blades in Damascus.
Tim B, I might be able to make it happen. Pay me.
Yeah, Tim B likes the smaller stuff like me. So
I could get one smaller. I think I could make it smaller than this. How small are you talking?
R. Shear's a big fan of the Defiant design, but I've never seen it. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
R. Shear, there are none in the wild, buddy.
All right, DVD, thanks for coming in, man. This is awesome. Thanks for popping in, brother.
These are the only two. This one and that orange one I showed. Those are the only two there are. Ernie lost the silver one.
It's out there somewhere. You got to go find it.
This is actually the prototype of that. This was the first finished folder I made.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's super crude and all, but
yeah. Well, it's funny because then you start looking at different hardware and all kinds of those types of things.
Yeah. Still works though.
Need the Bipley, OS 8, and Gravity Grivery handle scales.
The Bipley. Got to talk to Scotch about the Bipley.
You know what that is, not me.
It's them joking about like Scotch making clones of my knife. It's just like
is that what it is? Gotcha.
Yeah. And I guess since I'm just showing them, this was the that drawing I showed you earlier.
Yeah.
This was the absolute first thing I designed. This is all aluminum. It's just shitty, crappy aluminum.
Yeah, but that's where you.
But it was the proof of that I could eventually figure out how to make the folder thing work.
Yeah, I mean, all my stuff starts off in wood, so that's what I do. Actually, they start off as drawings, and then I take the drawings and I transfer them to a wood, and I make a wooden blank out of all of mine. Yeah, see, I have a whole drawer full of it. Full of them.
Yeah, I just reached over and these are all just laying around in my bedroom.
And it's just if I need to pull out this one and be like, boom, okay, I want to make this design, then I always have it to go off of. And that's I have a whole drawer full of them. I have 30 something designs now. This is a new one that I'm working on. Me and Tim B worked collaboratively on this one.
Nice. I like that.
The Bush Hawk Bowie.
I like how it's mostly flat, but it just kind of curves up towards about that last third.
Yep.
Or maybe half. Maybe it's about half.
And for me, it's a 4-finger.
Yeah, that's
4-finger, small little blade. It's based off of the Hawk because they finally got me to do my little bird and trout little Hawk design that I did. But and there's always something. And I have 2 or 3 other designs that I want to do this year.
Nice.
What about production? Would you ever want to get a production company to put one of your things out, one of your designs out? Ooh, what is that? Little
fixie.
Yeah.
Originally, this is the knife that I had the name Defiant, but then I basically never made any more of them. So then I gave that name to the folder.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, just
like it.
Fixie.
Yep.
That one, and then those are the first fixie I made myself. Alabama Damascus.
I can see where the Ripley was coming from on that.
Yeah. And then these scales, it's really hard to see. I'll try to send you a video of them, but they're actually made out of camo fatigues.
Really?
Yeah, it just kind of looks like weird, green and grainy. It turned out pretty cool. Yeah. What were you asking me? Production stuff. Yes and no. I think it'd be a cool way to get some passive income going. Blah blah blah. I would like to. Well, first of all, I'd like to get a mid-tech going first. I would like to have basically all of my parts made, like cut out to size, whether it's EDM or water jetted or whatever, cut out to size to where I'm doing minimal work to put it all together, throwing my own finishing touches on it, hand grinding the blade, and then being able to maybe sell my designs for like, the more mid-range folder kind of, you know what I mean? Like around like 3 to 5 rather than 8 to 1,000, you know what I mean? I'd honestly like to do that before anything. I'd love to get a US OEM production knife going, but
yeah, you and everybody else.
Yeah, me and everybody fucking else. I know it, man. So I want to focus on the mid-tech thing first. That's just a personal choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's really tough. I know I have a production model coming out hopefully this year.
Edgy.
Yeah, Edgy's here. What's up, Edgy? I have a production coming out hopefully this year. My last update was they're working on sheaths. And then once the sheaths are done, the production bloom should be coming out.
Nice, dude. I'm stoked for you. That's awesome.
So that's going to be really awesome. And I started doing the water jet thing myself. And I usually use them for when I like that last drop of all the blooms that I did for last month.
You don't want to lose your ass in this game. You got to use the water jet.
Yeah. And as much as I love the entire process of being able to come out with a finished product and be like, I did everything part of that blade. For time purposes, starting with a blank, it saves you a day's work, especially if you're going to do a small batch run of stuff.
Several days works, lots of money in abrasives.
Because for me, when I asked you what's the worst thing that you hate when you're doing the knives, for me, drilling holes.
Yeah,
just drilling holes, because my drill press isn't great, and I've gone through all kind of full carbide titanium coated drill bits that last for a little bit and then they just go. So
the drill press is the major factor.
Yeah. So a good drill press would be awesome, but listen, it's working. But for my water jetting, it's like you can get it, but I want holes in it. If you can't do the holes, then I don't want it.
Yeah,
so for sure. All of my water jetting stuff comes with the holes. I just got to mill them out like a 100th out, and
right.
Then that's like done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I flatten the edges out because if you're doing water jet stuff, they're going to come a little weird.
Yeah, they have a slight rake to the edge.
Yeah, it's like, you got to flatten it. But listen, if I have to just take it to the grinder, flatten that off, mill out the holes, clean them out, then I'm straight onto bevels, and it's saved me a day's work, sometimes 2 days work. So
edgy for sure. Grinding bevels is my jam. I love it.
Yeah. So for me, like when I do my drops of like 5 or 6 of the same blade, usually they start off as the water jet, and I've started to get more and more of my designs into CAD to do that. And it's just, it is what it is. And there's guys that are 3D printing scales out, and they're manufacturing all that. Basically, all they're doing is bevels, sharpening, and they're screwing the handles on, and they're done.
Right.
And they're selling their stuff at a premium rate. So
yeah.
I'm just happy to be where I'm at, and you're doing.
So am I, man. So am I. I am more than happy to be where I'm at. Yeah. I got builds on the books. Last year, I didn't know if I could actually make a living from this. This year, I'm like, shit, I need to figure out how to actually be able to make this stuff faster. You know what I mean? Like,
and I'm in the same boat.
And I love it. I'm super thankful. You know what I mean? Like super humbled by it. But
I am so humbled.
Figuring out what I'm trying to do. Like I'm still learning.
Yeah, this community has been so awesome with that, because I know I dropped those 6 blooms.
Dude, they sold out in like 3 fucking minutes, didn't they?
The 6 blooms, and I made 4 of those silly package hatchets.
Community showing out. What up?
In 3 minutes, they're gone.
Yeah, man.
So when I go to shows and people are like, you should have a booth at the show, and I'm like, why? Why am I wasting a whole weekend?
Yeah, shows are. We're gonna have to have another live. We'll talk about shows all together in another live. That's too long of a convo.
Yeah, no, we're not. I don't want to open that door. So anyway, this has been awesome, and I want to thank everybody who's here. And with that, I want to do a giveaway. I know
I dropped it behind
I don't like advertising giveaways, so it's a complete surprise when I am able to
that's
do
because
it.
people be showing up just to get free shit.
Yeah, so I don't put get a giveaway blah blah blah.
Sorry, I gotta move
because I want people here that are deserving of the giveaway.
Oh, most definitely.
So, this is what we're gonna do. So I have a knife I want to give away. This is the X-Took blade, nice little folder with it is micarta, and it has like this coyote brown color, which I guess could be RIT dyed or whatever if you don't like that color. Nice big pivot. It is a flipper, and it's also a front flipper as well. So love that blade shape, really stinking cool. So you can win that.
That's a nice looking knife.
It is. It's a really cool knife. Somebody sent it in. And thank you to that person. You know who you are for a giveaway. So we got the X-Took blade. And I have a giveaway package here. Thanks to some people in the chat. Let me pull that out. I got this whole bag of stuff.
War room, can't wait. Atlanta's going to be litty.
We have a nice monkey fist.
Uh-oh.
Made by Miss Kelly White.
Hey.
She does some awesome work with her stuff. So shout out to Kelly White. Thank you for always sending that stuff in. I love the horn. So we have that. Let's pour everything out here and then I'll go over it with you. We have some lanyard pulls. We have some lanyards, some zipper pulls, some lanyards, all handmade by Kelly. We got a bunch of stickers. We got Blade HQ. We got Zach stuff. You get to get one of my Bloom stickers. And listen, somebody reached out to me today and said, hey, can I get a Bloom sticker? And I said, well, listen, I don't just send out stickers. You only usually give them away if you buy a knife, obviously, you'll get a Bloom sticker, or if you win a giveaway. So there you go. Smoky Mountain Knife Worth sticker. How about a Jimmy Crow sticker? I love that. That thing is so cool. Jimmy Crow's got some really cool designs for his stickers. How about I'm a Pickled Field Steel fan. Another Jimmy Crow sticker. Looks a little different. So that one's awesome. How about one from Byron? Splitting Slices. And look at this. Look at this. It's a Tim Bushy sticker. Yeah. Tim B got his own sticker now. So, how about a BEDC? OCD for EDC and a Jack Wolf knife sticker. How about that? That pretty cool package. You get all that stuff. And this is how we're going to work it. I am sorry for all of you people who don't like to do this, but I do not have the fancy wheel or the fancy way of doing giveaways because I do not pay for that surface. So we are going to do the numbers game. There are 50 people in here roughly, so I'm going to write a number down on this sheet of paper, and then I'm going to give you a range.
Yako, I did not mail that out yesterday, and I'm sorry, bro, but it will be in the mail in the morning.
All right, so we are going to do just closest to the number wins. So not the Price is Right rules. We'll just do closest to the number wins. You can go over as long as you're closer. You have to be within the United States. You have to be 18. I'm not shipping a knife overseas because it just gets too much of a pain in the butt, or in Canada. So I'm sorry for all my Canadian friends that are in the chat. I just can't do that. So I'm going to take this sheet of paper. Look, sheet of paper. I wrote the number. I'm going to set it right here, right there. I'm not looking at it. The range, anybody wants to put a start on there with the rules. And then any of my moderators can do that. And I will give you, yes, Jim, message me, Jim. I'll get you a sticker. You have a Bloom, so I can get you a sticker. You have the Bloom harpoon. You have the Bloom poo. He has a Bloom harpoon. Yes, Trouble Bunny. Yeah, right. Just save my address. Yes, I do have your address, but you got to win it first. You got to pick the right number.
Oh, Aries, you ever made a pry bar?
I have made a pry bar. Nothing long. I've made like a little dog tag pry bar.
Yeah, I make a little keychain one.
Yeah, I have made one. I've made a couple of them. They're very crude. Here. It's like a bottle opener and a pry. Yeah. I had all these chunks of steel laying around, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Now, here's a question for you. I heat treat this.
Yeah.
Do you heat treat your pries?
Oh, yeah. Mine, you can cut a bolt with mine.
Yeah. See, there you go. All right. So Kelly put the start out, one guess only. Accounts, good luck. The range is from 100 to 300. 100 to 300. Good luck to everybody. We'll see who wins. So, and make sure you hit that like button while we're doing that. Everybody, hit that like button. Make sure you're supporting the channel. You guys are awesome. You can be a member if you would like, because, hey, why not? You can be a channel member. I do post stuff for just the channel members all the time, updates on projects. I just posted today a picture of a new character that's coming out very, very soon for the pedal. And nice. My daughter just finished that this weekend. And so I posted a little picture of that. So if you're a channel member, or Patreon, you got to check that out. So anyway, we'll give you guys about another minute, and then we'll see.
Terry, what up? I didn't see you, dude.
What?
Saying hi to Terry. Sorry.
Okay. Hey, Terry, what's going on? I missed you. Yep, there you are. 1931 Leather Works. Awesome. All right. Mad Yoko, what's going on? I missed you. Hello, Cicero. Hello. I probably didn't say hi. Donnie and I were in the middle of conversations, so we couldn't say hi.
I wasn't paying attention to the chat at all tonight, y'all. I'm sorry.
It's hard. I was
here. I've had a good night, though. It's been great.
It's always fun when I do these, but I want to be involved in the conversation, but I have to kind of watch the chat, too, to just highlight some things that pop up that people are talking about. But Derek, what's going on, man?
Derek,
3 months. Hey, thanks, Donnie and Aries. Thank you so much. My Talon salute to you, my friend. Talon salutes. Thank you very much, man. That's awesome. He missed me too. I feel so loved.
Hearts and kisses.
I'm so loved. What do you think of that shape? Would you ever do something with that shape?
That's gnarly. I'd like to do a hawkbill. I've never ground one, though. That's basically like a full recurve, and I want to know how to do recurves.
Yeah, that's not fun. I will tell you.
I was going to ask. I bet it's a pain in the butt to grind that. So keep it even, like along the. I've never done one.
I kept it fairly even. It was not easy. It's funny because the ends get thinner than the middle real quick. Now I did that. Right. I did that on a 1x30.
Nice.
Which helps because you have a thinner blade. But when I was grinding it, I noticed I was getting really thin towards the choil and really thin at the edge. and it was always thicker in the middle. So, but
yeah, I don't even know how to grind it. I've never done one, so
I just kind of threw it on the jig and I just went for it.
That's all you can do, man. YOLO.
So Simple Little Life threw out something a year ago about a design, and he kind of challenged everybody to do this design.
That's cool. And
I should have jumped on it, and I never did. And then afterwards, I was kicking myself. I'm like, I have to at least try. And the worst case scenario, I fail.
Yep.
And then, but I actually broke about 1/8 of an inch off the tip.
I bet.
Heat treating because it did bend.
Yeah.
And before I tempered, I was trying to bend it back, and it just ting, bink. But I reprofiled it. But that tip comes down to
dude, that's fucking
nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, dude, that's thin.
And this thing it's still it still has the edge on it, and it's just so sharp.
Nice.
And I've put it through cardboard and everything else. So
Jim
all
Miller,
right, I'll give you guys 30 more
man,
seconds. Yeah, 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. I don't even remember what my number was. It tells you my ADD and my brain.
Thanks, Sean.
What's up? Where's Sean?
Member.
Sean. Member. Oh, whoa, Sean.
Wow.
My chat is so much slower. Thank you very much, Sean. Those are awesome. Glad to hear part of your story, Bless. Yeah, this has been an amazing, cool night. This is why I want to do this, guys.
Caleb, thanks.
I want to do this every other week, try to get different makers. If you're a leather maker and I want to do, edgy. If you want to come on, I'd love to talk to you. If you're a leather maker, I want to talk to you. If you're doing ferro rods, I need to get in touch with Brian F. because I know he's doing some really killer stuff with what he's doing.
Yeah, so, Edgy, you need to get on here, bud.
Yeah, I need to get Edgy on here. That would be a cool conversation with you. Reach out to me on Instagram, hit me up and say, hey, man, I want to chat. And we'll hook this up and we'll do that. All right. Tim B has the stop button on. Let me go get it. Let's see what we got. The rain.
Also, I'll be down to do it again with you sometime, man.
Hey, man.
Even if it's a random short one, it doesn't have to be a long one or anything.
Yeah, I want to start doing a weekly. Like I do my thing in the shop on Mondays.
Right.
But that's the shop, I'm really just involved with the shop unless I'm hand sanding or working on handles.
For sure.
So I can't really interact with the chat much. But this is different. I like sitting down and interacting with you guys and learning new people. And one of the things I really want to do is get people on here that maybe aren't totally involved in the community. Like 2 weeks ago, I had my buddy Corey Hawley on.
Yeah, that was cool. I watched that one for sure.
And he deserves all the exposure he should be getting.
Most definitely.
He definitely should be getting that. Whoa, Mad Yoko is a member for 5 months.
Chat.
Yeah. He wants to know who won the giveaway. Just shut up, guys. Give me a number, damn it. That's what you're thinking. Awesome. All right. So the winning number was 110.
110.
I think I saw who was closest based off of that. And I think Derek had 111. And he even did Price's Right rules. Well, no, he didn't. He was over. But Derek for Eel, looks like you might have won, my friend. Possibly. Yeah. You guys, you can fact check me on that one, but I think he won. No, wow. I erased it. You erased it? What do you mean you erased it? Blue Lunati gifting 1 membership. Thank you, Blue. You're awesome. Talon salute. Maybe one day it'll be a Raptor, but right now you're stuck with the Talon. No, I forgot I had a guess before my super chat. Nah, you did guess. It was right. I just had it highlighted. 111. You look right there. I have proof. 111. You guessed 111, so you win.
You're saying you win.
That was his second guess.
Oh, okay. Shit.
I didn't see your first guess. All right, so now we got to go back and look. 134, 127. Thank you for being honest, Derek. 117, Mad Yoko and BNA both said 117. BNA said 4 Donnie.
Hey, if you don't want to try to split it, if that's the closest one, you better just give that to Yako.
All right. Yep. All right. Mad Yoko had 117. Okay. Well,
I appreciate it, BNA, but
so
people.
Donnie is passing, and he's saying no, so he's
no tiebreakers.
BNA is cool with it. I don't like tiebreakers, so that's cool. But
thank you,
all right. Mad Yoko, congratulations, my friend. Reach out to me on Instagram or at AriesEDC@gmail.com. Congratulations, my friend. You won a whole pack of goodies. And that, whoa, I was knocking my whole laptop.
Glad Yako, I love it.
Mate, your X-Talk.
That's good.
Awesome. So, congrats, Mad Yoko. This has been fun.
Dude, I had a great time tonight, buddy.
Hey, and I'll reach out to you if I ever get in a bind and I can't find anybody, man. You're whoa, I don't know about that. We'll definitely do this again.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh wait, we got to end with this. The blue.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I've told you guys, they bite. You have to be respectful.
That's right.
They bite, and they bite hard.
You got to whisper sweet nothings to them.
You have to be careful. You have to be careful. You play too much, they will bite back. All right. That was fun. Hey, Donnie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
This has been amazing. You guys, thank you very much for joining in. Everybody who did a super chat, thank you so much. That all goes to support the channel and all of the things that I'm doing. So I would just want to thank Donnie again and thank all of you guys for being here. If you haven't already, please remember, subscribe, like, leave a comment or not. Again, the choice is always yours.
Come to me on Shane's channel.
See you guys.